So last night on the show we had the wonderfully exotic and amazing Björk, and we had a lovely long chat with her. And if you missed it, this is just a taster. You might want to go back and listen on BBC Sounds. What was your first job?
You know what? I was helping my family collecting the cows when I was 6 to bring to the farm. So, yes.
What is your favourite season?
I do love Christmas. That's epic, mega. I do love middle of summer. I do love, like, autumn now is so charming when all the leaves going red. And we were actually herding sheep this weekend in the mountains, picking berries and mushrooms. And so autumn is special, I think.
What's your favourite dessert?
I think like coconut ice cream, you know, mochis.
Yes, I do. I've got a load in my fridge.
I like green tea mochi. I think I could just live on that if it was healthy.
God, I could listen to her talk all day long. Everything about the way she enunciates, the language she uses, everything she has to say as well. Listen back again to the interview. I've never heard her quite so clear and happy, to be honest with you. Talking about the brand new album Fossora. That was Björk. It's on BBC Sounds last night's show. In the meantime, enjoy this, Army of Me. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Hello, it's Jo. How are you?
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Good. Nice to hear your voice. How's everything?
You're really good. I just wanted to thank you so much for your support.
You are more than welcome, lifelong fan. And it's just nice to have you on the show again, and well done on the album. So you're at that point where you're unleashing it on the rest of the world, and I always imagine it's like being at the top of a roller coaster and about to just set off on the ride. How does that feel? Yeah,
it does feel, it's different, isn't it? When you've been so much in one spot for so long. I guess the musicians you talk to, you're probably used to hearing them talk about that how much they travel, and then the fact that I haven't traveled that much, it's sort of everything is like 3 times more powerful, like because I was in Iceland for 2 years without not even opening up my suitcase, so just really concentrated, and you really shoot down roots, and you really can you have a lot of time and effort to put into the work you do, and then releasing it, it's like, being pregnant with a baby elephant or twins or something, and then you actually feel like I do start to feel just like I'm 10 kilos lighter or something, like you're sort of putting something into the world, and just the fact that everything's sort of worked out. There's so many little bits, like the mastering and the the visuals and like all the little bits, and then when you release it, everybody's sort of feeling slightly ecstatic, and it's like all the hard work was like it's harvest time, right?
It is harvest time. I can't imagine. I don't think this album is an elephant. I don't think you've been pregnant with an elephant. I'm trying to imagine what kind of a creature this record is. What do you think? It's way too exotic to be an elephant.
Oh, well, I guess elephant does have a trunk, and they're really good swimmers, aren't they? They never get credit for that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, good point. What kind of a swimmer are you? I wanted to find out what kind of a swimmer you are, because I read that during lockdown you were a bit frustrated because the swimming pools were all closed, and I felt the same. What kind of a swimmer are you?
Oh, because we have a swimming pool in every neighborhood in Iceland, because we've got naturally hot water. Swimming pools in Iceland, they're like the cafes in Paris or whatever. It's like our social place where we meet everyone, where we do our laps, and it's like it's much bigger thing than, let's say, London. So we all learned to swim really early in school, like all of us. We're all pretty good swimmers because of this. I am a slow swimmer. I swim very slowly. I'm like, the turtle and the hare. I'm the turtle. But when I go to, like tropical islands, I can swim for an hour pretty much and be okay. I'm like, I get there,
Yeah.
I'm not fast. I'm very slow, but I'm consistent.
I don't know about for you, but it's just good for my head when I'm swimming, and it's a bit of an escape and a release, and you just feel so much better when you come out of the water, I think, just from being submerged.
Yeah, also just outside pools for me, it's just you like in the winter, sometimes when the weather is like not that nice, your skin is still outside and you just get like a blizzard in your face and you're swimming outside and really warm and cozy. You know, it just gives you that, you know, not only get an outdoors experience, but also it is like what you're saying, really grounding, isn't it? Like it just like balances you out.
Yeah. So let's talk about the record. Listening to the record is something I've always been aware of, is your love of words and language. And when you sing, you just relish them. You deliver every single word as though you're savouring it, every syllable, and you kind of play with them. There's one particular bit where you sing about amalgamate and illuminate. You kind of use those together in succession in the same song. And for the new album, you actually made up your own word, didn't you, for the title? So tell me what, and you will probably say, well, you will say it much better than I do, but Fossora, what that means, and why is it the title of the record?
Oh, thanks so much for your compliment. I am, it's obviously English is my second language, and I do enjoy it. I feel like I get a little bit better expressing myself every year in it. I still got far to go, so I will get better in it. But Fossora is, I was trying to find, because obviously the songs are quite different on this album, but it definitely has a cohesive feeling for me. And it is kind of being in the pandemic, in the quarantine, and being like really grounded with your friends and in your living rooms and meeting a lot your closest friends and your closest family and your loved ones, but nobody else, right? So you kind of get deeper into each person, and then also your living room becomes the place where it's a restaurant slash psychiatrist slash club on a Friday night. So I just thought that was quite funny, how we were all sort of 7 billion people doing that together. And for me, Fossora is sort of trying to describe that feeling of getting so grounded in your own home that you shoot down roots. And Fossora means like the digger, or like a female, it's like Latin, it's the female version of that. And like fossil, for example, is something that you find if you dig into the ground. So I just wanted to find something that would give this feeling of digging a hole into the ground and being really cozy with your family and loved ones and friends, and it's kind of very happy, like, you know, you've got what you want, you know, that feeling you got, like you don't need to go across the planet to find all these bits. It's like you got it all in your neighborhood, you know, in your close environment.
Everything you need is right there.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
I know exactly what you mean. We'll play a track from it now, and this I think is the current single, and this is, I just want you to say everything, because you say everything a gazillion times better than I ever will. Ovule. Now you say it.
Ovule.
Ovule. Okay, we'll play it and then we'll talk after this.
And maybe I sort of was just improvising. This just all just sort of came out in one blob.
Into sorrowful, sorrowful, our roots are dark.
I guess it's sort of about when you discover that, okay, maybe this is the last chapter of her life. So it does have a sadness to it. There's a big choir tradition in Iceland. So I decided to write a choir arrangement, and I got an Icelandic choir, which I was in as a kid, and probably all musicians from Iceland that you know have also been in the same choir. So we did, they sacrificed the whole summer to me by rehearsing it every night, and we recorded this in a beautiful room. In Iceland, we have this famous folk song called Grafskrift, which is sort of like an obituary to a man who passed away, Sæmundur Clemensson. And I always thought it was so hilarious because the lyric is really cold and very like just a list of when he was born, what his jobs were, you know, who he married, and then he died. And I always thought that was kind of hysterical to put that into that sort of data into a lyric. And I think with Sorrowful Soil, I tried to do the opposite. So it wasn't like a patriarchal data song. It was more a matriarchal sort of, that I would have the biological and the emotional. So her story. So that's why sort of in the lyric it says, all women, they're born with 400 eggs, which I just think is such a beautiful fact. The fact that when you hold a 1-day-old girl, she actually has 400 eggs inside her. And then she forms 2 or 3 nests. So that's sort of why that's in the lyrics. So it's sort of like her biological story and an emotional story. Yeah, so this is Sorrowful Soil, a poem written to my mother.
And Ancestress, because that's what it then goes on to. Tell me about that.
Yes, that's maybe more sort of the emotional story. It is in a sort of, it was written after she passed away, so it is also like a celebration of her life, so it's not as sad. I do understand kind of how I guess Icelandic people like relate to, you know, what the Irish and the Mexican people say, that it's a celebration when people pass away, like you should celebrate their lives. So it does have that celebratory element in it, even though it has also sadness. But it is chronological, so the first verse is sort of about my childhood, and then it goes through all the moment as when she falls ill, and then when we and the separation in the end of the song.
Can you just describe what she was like, your mum? Because she was a character, wasn't she?
Yes, it's hard to do in a sentence. I'll give it my best shot. I probably won't do it any justice, but she was one of these women who was in the 60s, went through the transformation of being the ideal sort of housewife to breaking free of all that. And, you know, she was part of the hippie generation, and she moved me to the suburb of Reykjavik with my stepfather and my brother, where I appreciated much more later in life, where it was like matriarchy over there, and a lot of very eccentric characters lived there, and it was kind of more in nature. So I think she was quite a rebel. There was always really, really healthy food in my household, and I got introduced to a lot of occult things. I mean, maybe there were things that maybe were not, you know, I had to be responsible super early, unusually early maybe. But I think overall, I think she was a good pioneer in the sense how she was breaking ground for someone like me I got a lot of room as a woman. There was nothing that stopped me, you know. And I think in her philosophy, that was very much part of her philosophy.
Wonderful. You did it really well, eloquently. That was just such a lovely...
Oh, sorry, it's so hard.
I know. It was a difficult question to ask, but I've just read about her, so it's lovely to hear you talking about her as well. Is pop music something that doesn't interest you now in making, you know, we remember you from doing It So Quiet and Big Time Sensuality and that era, that part of your life. Is it something that doesn't interest you now, or is it just not possible because you have much bigger dreams and ambition and capabilities, I think, as a composer and as an artist? Or might you suddenly drop a pop song at some point?
Well, I don't know. I think my ideas of pop is probably, not the average ideas of pop, but from my point of view, songs like It's So Quiet, I didn't write that song. Big Time Sensuality, the Big Time Sensuality that people know that we did the video to, that was actually a remix. So I think sometimes when people look at my music from the 90s, they remember all the remixes that they danced to in the clubs, which is amazing. But if you sit down and listen to Post, it actually has songs like Headphones and Cover Me, and even Debut has songs like Anchor Song and Aeroplane. There are songs that are quite sort of experimental, for the lack of a better word. So, I mean, from my point of view, there's always been the same kind of balance of pop and techno beats that you can dance to, and experimental, and I guess some sort of contemporary classical. I don't even know what to call it, but and I feel it has been on all my albums has been sort of the same balance. Maybe people have forgotten that now. Obviously, all musicians have a blind spot of what their music is. So I can't really see it from the outside, but that's sort of, if you're asking me how I feel. And I listen to like Rihanna, Beyonce, Kilela, all that lot, all the time, like Shy Girl, Obsessed, Rosalia, all that lot. And if you come to my house, I have a playlist, and it has basically the same stuff that's on my albums, which is there's some ethnic music and folk songs, and then there'll be some contemporary classical choir music, and then there will be on a Friday night some sugar pop blasting and some brutal techno as well.
It's all in there, yeah, all in there.
Yeah.
Listen, when you had lockdown, and we've talked briefly about it, what was the experience like for you? What was going on? Did you have a lot of people there? Were you cooking a lot for people? Were you DJing or watching television? What was it like?
I guess all of the above. I guess we were, because we have the luxury in Iceland of being an island, so we could sort of, every single person that flew in was tested at the border, and then they had to quarantine for 5 days and then take the second test, which meant that in Iceland, our lifestyle wasn't that changed. So we sort of had pretty normal lives, except we didn't maybe meet as many people as normal. So my lifestyle, I could always walk on the beach, and I could always go for hikes and all that. There were 3 months where we could go to the pool, which was sad, but that was only three months. Definitely cooking for each other, trying to entertain each other, and trying to go past the normal point you go in conversation with your closest friends to, rescue each other from boredom, which actually ended up being a good thing.
Yeah, I think so. It was very therapeutic, I think, for many, many people on lots of different levels. And we did get to know each other better. There was an openness, wasn't there? People were willing to communicate and let their guard down and just be more vulnerable.
I think so. And then also we had to sort of be self-sufficient and take turns in DJing for each other. And on the dance floor, on the living room floor. And that was fun too, actually, because that's something we just all need to do regularly, is to dance, just to keep sane,
Totally, 100%. Listen, we just do a short list of questions now, which I'm going to throw at you, and hopefully you won't mind and you'll go with this. It's up close and personal. So what would you consider is your job title?
Musician.
What was your first job?
I probably babysat, or... You know what? I was helping my family collecting the cows when I was 6 to bring to the farm. So, yes.
Which I presume you didn't get paid for, because that's family.
Yeah, right. I probably was selling newspapers when I was 11.
Okay. So the work ethic was there right from the beginning. What is your favourite season?
I think I love them kind of all.
Do you? There's something in everything?
Yes. My least favourite one is kind of, I'd be honest with you, like February, March. But I do love Christmas. That's epic, mega. I do love middle of summer. I do love, like, autumn now is so charming when all the leaves going red. And we were actually herding sheep this weekend in the mountains, picking berries and mushrooms. And so autumn is special, I think.
What's your favourite dessert?
I think... like coconut ice cream, mochis.
Yes, I do. I've got a load in my fridge.
I like green tea mochi. I think I could just live on that if it was healthy.
What's your favourite thing to do when it's rainy and it's bleak and there's nothing to do outside? Your rainy day activity?
Well, it's actually right now as I look outside the window. So I'd probably light the fire and listen to some good music. I like reading, or also sometimes I work on my laptop, editing music or working on arrangements or something cozy.
Do you have any tattoos?
Yes, one behind my ear, and one on my upper arm.
Okay. What's the one behind your ear?
It's a band I was in when I was 17, which was called Cook, which was sort of an anarchy punk jazz band. I don't know what to call it, really. It was very cathartic and explosive. And I designed the logo for the band and put a tattoo of it, of course, on behind my ear. So it was very radical.
What was your last impulse buy? Did you buy anything recently that you love?
You know what is definitely a soft spot for me is basically buying Studio Ghibli stuff online. I think everybody in my family have now Totoro tea towels and Princess Mononoke cups and yeah.
Yeah, we had a cat called Ponyo. You know Ponyo?
Yes. That's my. I will just go and click away. I will lose the plot when they show me the Studio Ghibli merch online. That's my weak spot.
Thank you so much for talking to us, and congratulations on the album. And I hope everybody enjoys it on the same level that we did. We loved it very much indeed, and it's nice to talk to you all over again. Take care.
Oh, thank you so much.